you're ever in a state where you're confused about, oh, I don't know how he feels, I don't know if he likes me, I don't know if he doesn't like me, or I don't know if she likes me or if she doesn't like me.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Bestie, we're better than this. Bestie, come on. Welcome to Talks with B. My name is Benita Barrow, and today we are going to be giving you dating advice that you need. So, if you clicked into this video or podcast, I'm assuming that you're single or maybe you are dating and you need a few tips on how to date well, I guess. So, I made a brief video in January where I was doing a get ready with me, and I just went through 12 things that I've learned about dating. So in this video, I'll basically be going into a lot more detail with those 12 things. I definitely will be doing a part 2 on dating advice that you need, but today is just basically on the things that I've learned and why it's important to take this approach when you are dating or in the talking stage, or even sometimes in an early relationship stage. So we're going to jump straight into it. The first thing that I had discussed in that video was you can't love someone if you don't know how to love yourself. So I'm Christian, I'm big on my faith. In Matthew, we are given kind of the hierarchy of love. We are meant to love God first, ourselves second, and others third. I quite frankly believe that it is very hard to love other people properly if you don't know how to love yourself properly, if you don't know how to receive love from yourself properly. You know, at the end of the day, your relationship with yourselves sets the tone for your relationship with everyone else in your life. How you see yourself and how you relate to yourself is going to impact how you relate to your family, your friends, your romantic lover. If you have a horrible relationship with yourself and if you struggle with loving yourself, you're going to struggle with learning how to love another person. So it's very important to invest time into loving yourself, into knowing yourself. I think a lot of people take the season of singleness very lightly. Sometimes it's not even a season. Sometimes it's quite literally a calling to be single. That's not even me being mean. God, we weren't promised a partner. We weren't promised that, you know, you're going to find a wife and a husband and you're going to live happily ever after. That was never a promise that was given to us in the word. I revert back to the Bible a lot because I do take its principles into my everyday life. So sometimes dating just isn't for you, and that's okay. That's fine. You know, finding a partner isn't the end goal. Not everyone's meant to grow up and have a family and have kids, and that's okay. So that was just a little disclaimer. But I think it's very important when you're single to appreciate the fact that you are single. You know, to learn more about yourself. Take yourself out on dates. You know, literally explore yourself and learn, okay, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. I feel happy when I'm doing this and I feel happy when I'm not doing this. Come to the understanding of, wait, I like spending time with these people and I don't like spending time with those people. I don't like the way I feel around those people or the person that I am around those people. You know, so I'm going to stay away from people that have this character traits or people that have this specific mindsets because it doesn't bring out the best in me. Knowing yourself and having a healthy relationship with yourself is so vital in having a healthy relationship with other people. You know, one of my favorite quotes says that we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. As we are. So however you see the world, if you're a pessimistic person, that means you probably have a terrible relationship with yourself. You probably see yourself as someone who's not deserving of love or of good things. So when you look out into the world, you're trying to find a reason why everything is bad and a reason why, you know, you should never be happy. You know, you should always be looking for the worst case scenario and always be expecting the worst case scenario because that's how you view yourself. If you're an optimistic person, that probably means that you do love yourself. That probably means that you have a good relationship with yourself. You know yourself. You're content with yourself. So when you go out into the world and you see all these different circumstances in the world, you look at it with the attitude of, wait, but it can always get better. Wait, how can I help in this particular situation to make this a better ending or whatever it can be? And also, if you don't have love for yourself and if you can't accept love from yourself, how could you possibly accept love from somebody else? You are your primary source. You're with yourself 24/7. If you can't accept that type of love, how will you accept being loved by an external source? You know, one of my other favorite quotes, sorry man, I live by a lot of quotes. One of my other favorite quotes, I think it's actually an African proverb, and it talks about how a boat doesn't sink because of the water that's outside of it. A boat sinks because of the water that gets into it. Our internal state, our internal posture affects us so much in the way that we move through life and the way that we relate to people. And also with loving yourself comes a lot of respect for yourself, a lot of dignity. So when you encounter a person, or when you start talking to or dating a person that isn't loving you correctly, isn't loving you the way that you know you deserve to be treated, because you know the type of person you are, you know what you bring to the table, you know that you're a light in people's lives, you know that you're a good asset. When you start dating somebody that doesn't see you as that, it becomes that much easier to leave that situation. When you don't love yourself, or you struggle with having a good relationship with yourself, you're going to feel that being in a toxic or abusive relationship is okay, because that's what you're used to. That's how you're used to treating yourself. So that's how you allow other people to treat you, and you stay in that relationship for years on end. And the longer you stay in that relationship, the more your spirit and your soul is being broken down, and the harder it becomes to leave, because your mind literally engraves that, wait, this is the treatment that I deserve. I deserve to be treated like absolute crap. No one deserves to be treated like that. So with loving yourself, and that's why I say it's so important to love yourself before you learn to love other people, or learn how to receive love from other people. By loving yourself, you know your worth, you stick to your worth. It doesn't mean you're cocky and you think you're above people, but no, you know what treatment you deserve and what treatment you don't deserve. You know what treatments to allow into your life, and what treatment to be like, I'm not getting this fly, you know. And I feel like there's a lot more I want to say about that particular one, but I do need to move on, because there's like 11 other topics that I want to go into, and I don't want to take too long on each one. So the second point that I wanted to talk about, not everyone may understand it. But just because he's a good guy doesn't mean he's the right guy. Just because she's a good girl doesn't mean she's the right girl. I've had the privilege of dating men that are absolute gems, like they're absolute gentlemen. They've really poured their love into me, and they've made me feel seen and heard. And I've literally never dated someone who was like a horrible, abusive, terrible guy that, you know, treated me absolutely disgustingly. No, because I'm very picky about the men that I date. So I've had the privilege of dating amazing men. And I remember I'd always feel so guilty whenever I had to end things with those men, because I was like, oh, but he's such a good guy, like he's such a great guy. But I knew something in my spirit was like, nah, he's not the one, and you know he's not the one. And I found myself staying in relationships for a year, you know, because I kept trying to hold on to the fact that he's a good guy and I shouldn't let go of him. But I knew that he wasn't the right guy. And that's a hard concept to come to terms with, because when you do leave a good guy, you know, you have to be single again. It's like, oh, what am I doing with my life? Like, what was the whole point of leaving him? Because he did everything right. He was a great guy. But just like I said, just because he is a good guy doesn't mean he is the right guy. Not every person is going to be the right person, and that's what makes finding the one that much more special. It is a very tough pill to swallow, I'm not going to lie. And it's led to me being heartbroken a lot of times, because like I said, the guilt of leaving a good person will eat you up. But it's just as worse to stay with someone that you know, nah, he's not the one. Like, he's a great guy, and I feel like we're making this work and our relationship is at a good space, but I just feel something in my soul is telling me, nah. Because firstly, you're probably keeping yourself from somebody else that is the right person, and you're keeping them from being with someone else that is the right person for them. So you don't have to stay with somebody just because they're a good person. There's tons of good people all around the world. Doesn't mean that each and every one of them are the right person for you. So number 3 is a quote we've all heard a lot. If he wanted to, he would. If she wanted to, she would. And it ties in with number 4, which is, if you have to beg him to do the bare minimum, let him go. So I'll talk about these kind of under the same umbrella. People know what they're doing. People know exactly what they're doing. If someone wanted to treat you a certain way, they're going to treat you in that way. So if you have to be begging someone to treat you a certain way, let that person go. Let them go. They clearly aren't as invested in you as you're invested in them. And there's a difference between trying to teach somebody how to love you and how you prefer to be loved and how you receive love, and then begging them to literally do the bare minimum. Come on, bestie. We've already talked about having a good relationship with yourself. Now imagine you're begging someone to do the bare minimum for you. You deserve so much better than that, and you know it. Don't do it. If a guy wants to text you good morning and good evening every day, he's gonna do it. If he wants to take you out for dinner, he's gonna do it. If he wants to buy you gifts, he's gonna do it. If someone wants to do something, they do it. And I saw a tweet once that said, princess treatment comes naturally from a man that loves you. Likewise, king treatment comes naturally from a woman that loves you. At our very core, we are called to love people and to express our love through our actions. If someone loves you, they're going to show it through their actions, not just their words. Words are not enough. Do not settle for somebody's words. That is possibly the worst thing you could ever do for yourself. Settle for their actions. Settle for what work they actually put in behind proving that they love you. I don't even think I need to go into more detail about that one, because child, if he wanted to, he would. So the fifth one is currently my favorite one to implement when I'm in the talking stage with somebody, or whatever it may be. If you're confused about where you stand with him, you don't stand anyway. Like I said, I've had the privilege of dating absolutely amazing men that loved me so wholeheartedly. And that's how I know that when a man loves you, when he's fully invested in you, he's going to let you know that. And you're not going to be confused about where you stand with him. You're not going to be confused about how he feels about you, because he's going to vocalize it. He's going to put actions behind how he feels about you. If you're ever in a state where you're confused about, oh, I don't know how he feels, I don't know if he likes me, I don't know if he doesn't like me, or I don't know if she likes me or if she doesn't like me.
Bombastic side eye. Criminal offensive side eye.
Bestie, we're better than this. Bestie, come on. I don't even think I need to go into more detail with that one, because honestly, honestly, you shouldn't be confused about where you stand with anybody. So the sixth one, he can't read your mind, you need to communicate. She can't read your mind, you need to communicate. I think sometimes we expect people to know how we're feeling, or expect people to know what we're thinking without actually communicating it. None of us are mind readers. If you are, please let me know, because I could do with your services. But none of us are mind readers. You're not going to know how someone else feels if they don't actually talk about it. And it's even worse to make an assumption of how someone else may be feeling. I always think of this in the case of, sometimes something is a big deal to you, and to somebody else it's like, oh, it's whatever. So if you don't express that what they've done is a big deal to you, to them, because they see it as it's a whatever thing, they're not going to know that you've been touched by it, or that you're unhappy about how the situation went down. So you need to communicate. If somebody you're dating or in the talking stage with is doing something that makes you feel maybe less valued or less seen, or you feel like they're not giving you the attention that you want, or whatever the case may be, you need to communicate that with them. And if you ever feel like communicating your feelings with somebody leads to an argument, that person is not for you, that person is not for you, that person is a gaslighter, they're a manipulator. Don't do it. They're a narcissist, actually. Don't stay with that person. Don't do it. You need to be able to be in a relationship with somebody where you can communicate your feelings openly, honestly, and have them also understand how you're feeling. And there's that saying about how communication is so important, and that is true. But communication paired with understanding and action, that's what's important. If you're communicating, if you're just talking to this person and they're just listening. Okay, cool. But not actually taking time and effort to understand what you're saying, understand where you're coming from, and then put in action behind whatever they need to change or behind whatever the problem may be, then literally all the talking you've done or the communicating you've done has been done in vain. So it's important to be with somebody that's actually going to take your feelings to heart. So if you're with somebody that makes you feel like, I just feel like this dude isn't hearing me at all, and I feel like this dude is literally doing the bare minimum for me, and I'm confused about where I stand with him, and he turns it into an argument every time I talk about my feelings. Or a woman that does that. You know, sometimes women are the bad characters too. I've been in a few relationships, situationships where I've been the bad person, and I take full accountability for that. Choose your partners wisely, guys. Choose your partners wisely. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Number 7. This one is going to be a tough pill to swallow for some of you. But relationships are not meant to complete you. You're supposed to feel whole and complete by yourself, not because someone else has come into your life. Not, there's this narrative of, oh, I'm going to find my other half one day. Other half where? I'm full, I'm whole, I'm complete by myself. It's okay. It's all right. Lord, free me from the shackles of thinking that a man is going to complete me. Oh, I'm going to have to be unfiltered with this one, but it's such a flawed mindset to go into with dating, that you're going to find your other half, that you're going to find someone who's going to complete you. Not God will complete you. God will make you feel whole and complete, because basically what you're saying is, I don't feel whole, I don't feel complete by myself, and I feel like there's an empty part of me, or there's a void that I need someone else to come fill. You're putting so much faith and hope in someone else's hands, someone else who can literally come and tear you apart and hurt you. And that just goes back to number 1. You need to love yourself before you love somebody else. If you love yourself, you're going to feel content by yourself. You're going to feel content and whole by yourself. And you're not going to feel like someone else needs to be added to your life to feel happy. Please don't ever put that pressure on somebody else to come and make you feel whole. That is a horrible, horrible pressure to put on somebody else. And it's a horrible thing to do, firstly, to your emotions and to your mind. You know, it isn't anyone else's job to make you happy. It isn't anyone else's job to bring you joy, to make you feel complete, to make you feel like life is worth living again. That is no one else's responsibility. This may be, I may sound like I'm being harsh right now, but it's the truth. That if you need to hear, I'm glad that you're hearing right now. It's the truth. Your life is your responsibility. Your life is your responsibility. All your emotions, everything you feel is your responsibility. How you respond to those emotions is your responsibility. I feel like everything I'm saying right now literally leads back to number 1. Just love yourself. Love yourself, and you'll know how to love people, and you'll know how to accept love from people. Besties, that's basically the end of this. Just learn how to love yourself. That's it. That's what I should have said from the beginning, and cut this whole podcast, YouTube video from there. But we are going to carry on with our last 5. Number 8. His friends are not your friends, and your friends are not his friends. Likewise, her friends are not your friends, and your friends are not her friends. So thinking that your partner's friends are your friends and they prioritize you as much as they prioritize your partner, oh, let me tell you something. You're going to be very disappointed. It's different if you guys are in one big friend group, okay? I'm not too sure how those dynamics work. If you date someone from your friend group, you know, but I know for a fact, if you start dating somebody and you meet their friends, please don't think that those people are your friends now. Keep a healthy boundary between your partner's friends and yourself. I don't even know if I need to go into more detail with that one, but honestly, please do not be fooled. Do not think that those people are your friends. Don't do it. You know for a fact your friends would lie to your partner for you too. Okay, I'm not endorsing lying. Please understand that. There's no part of me that is endorsing lying right now, but I'm just saying for context. Okay, Number 9, to go on with this whole friends topic, your partner cannot be your only friend. No. It depends. It depends on the circumstance. If maybe you've had toxic friends and family, and your partner allows you to see the light, and your partner loves you right, and they allow you and give you the strength and courage to leave your toxic friends and family, that's a different case. In that case, sure, your partner can be your only friend, but I still would suggest that you go out and make some new friends. But if you have supportive friends, supportive family, and you start dating somebody and they isolate you from those around you, that is manipulation, firstly, and that's not healthy. You need to still have friends, you need to still have an identity and a life outside of your partner. God forbid you guys break up, then what happens after that? You're stuck, you're alone, you don't have anyone to, a shoulder to cry on, nothing at all, because your partner literally talked you into abandoning people that cared for you before he even came along, or before she even came along. And I keep saying he and she because I don't want to make it seem like I'm only talking to the girls, because some guys do also need this advice. I think there are some men that are absolute sweethearts out there that do get manipulated by women, and they date vile women. Number 10, this one might get a bit of backlash, but I think if you get it, you get it. Relationships work better if the guy is more in love with the girl than vice versa. It's funny because I actually saw a video like this on TikTok the other day, and the girl was saying how women naturally give more than men. We're more loving than men, we're more nurturing than men. And that's why you find most of the time it's women that get heartbroken, because they give so much to a man who's just gonna turn around and be like, I didn't ask you to do all of that. And I always think about what Paul said in the Bible, how as a wife, your duty is to respect your husband, and how as a man, your duty is to love your wife like you love yourself. And I think that's a perfect example and a perfect show of how men and women are built differently. So men are very egotistical people. That's not even me being shady or anything, but that's what men thrive off of, their ego. So when a man feels respected, he's going to thrive better in that environment. When he feels disrespected, his ego takes a huge shot, and sometimes he becomes a prick, or it's hard for a man to function in a place where he feels disrespected. Whereas with women, we are born nurturers, so we desire to feel loved, we desire to feel seen, and really valued. Not to say that men don't desire to be loved or valued or whatever, but women work better off of the softness of love. So when it comes to romantic relationships, I do believe that it is important for the guy to be more in love with the woman than she is. Not to say that the woman shouldn't love you at all. It's not at all what I'm saying. I think there should be mutual love and respect. I think in a dating environment, relationships most of the time do work out better if the man is more in love with the woman than she is with him. And that is up for debate with your friends, not with me, because I'm sticking by my point. But I'm kidding. Definitely up for debate. And I think love, seeing a man be in love and being also loved right, is such a beautiful thing. I think it's one of the most beautiful things to witness and experience and see in life. Okay, moving on to our last two. Number 11, don't plan your whole future with your partner in mind if you guys aren't that serious yet. I hope you heard that disclaimer. If you guys aren't that serious yet, breakups do happen. Even sometimes if you've been dating someone for 10 years and you've planned your whole future with them in mind, you can still break up. And that sucks. Divorces happen and it sucks. But in your relationship, like I said with the whole friends thing, you need to still have an identity for yourself and still have not necessarily a future that doesn't involve your partner, but I think in planning for your future, you can't revolve everything around your partner or your relationship with your partner, because at the end of the day, you are an individual. You know, you have your own hopes and dreams, and sometimes your partner's hopes and dreams align with yours, but they're not fully yours. So still have that sense of identity of, even if this person and I don't work out, even if things, you know, don't pan out as I hope they would have, I still see a future for myself where I'm still able to do A, B, and C. You know, I don't uproot my whole life for this person and for their dreams and for their goals. You know, still stay true to your dreams and your goals and what you want for your life. Okay, number 12, which is my last one, and maybe one of my favorite ones to implement right now, is date someone for who they are and not their potential. Date someone for who they are in that moment, because they may never reach their potential. And sometimes their potential is an image that you've set up in your head of who they could be. And they don't even want to be that person, so they'll never become that person. And then you spend years and years in a relationship with someone hoping that they'll change and become this image that you've seen them being. And you end up being like, wait a minute, this person is still the same person I was with like 2 years back, 3 years back, 6 years back. And now you've dated someone for their potential instead of who they are. And you feel stuck in the relationship and you feel like, oh, I wasted so much of my life being with this person. Because you set up unnecessary expectations, that's why. And it also goes back to the whole point of actions over words. In dating someone for who they are, it means date them for who their actions are, not what their words are. You know, as sweet as words are, they're also very deceiving. And I can come to you and tell you I'm in love with you and I want to do anything to make you mine, and you're the most handsome man that's ever existed, and whatever I could sweet talk into your ears, but if I'm not putting in the action behind wanting to make you mine and wanting to make you happy and wanting to be in a relationship with you, then my words are literally quite nonsensical. And also with that, sometimes it's not even the potential that you've expected them to live up to, but sometimes somebody tells you that they're gonna be this person, they're gonna be that person, they're gonna do this in the future, that in the future, and they end up still being a bum. No offense. If you see them actively not putting in the work to become the person that they've told you they want to be it in their career, be it in the way they are in your relationship with you, or be it just in their individuality or in their healing, if you're not seeing them putting in the work, actively putting in the work to be that while you're with them, let that person go, because they're never going to put in the work. If they're not putting in the work now and they keep deferring the work, they're never going to put in the work, ever. And like I said, you're going to be stuck with this person for years on end, hoping that they're going to be who you want them to be or who they've told you they're going to be, and they never end up being that person. But truly and honestly, date someone for who they are right now, not what they promise they could be or what you think they could be. So that's it for this episode, and I hope you got some good tips or advice here today. And if you didn't, stay tuned for part 2. It's okay. And if you also have any tips and advice for people, please leave it down in the comment section below. And if you are listening to it over the podcast, then please don't shy away from sending me a DM about your take on dating. Thank you so much. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow, share, whatever it is. Mwah.
I can feel my face when I'm with you, but I love it.